Anjali Mehrotra. She's a dynamic advocate for menstrual equity and women's rights. As founder of Equality Period New Jersey, she led the push for free menstrual products in New Jersey schools. Anjali serves on the Union College Board of Trustees and has been appointed to the New Jersey Asian American and Pacific Islander Commission and the New Jersey Indian Commission. A prominent leader with the AAUW and former NOW board member, Anjali was a Democratic candidate for the New Jersey General Assembly. Honored as a woman as agent of change in 2023, she is a sought-after voice by New Jersey publications and has been featured across various news platforms. Please help me welcome Anjali to the stage.
My name is Anjali Mehrotra, and it really is my privilege to be standing here before you for this opportunity to get to speak to you. What I'm going to share with you today is my story, but I really do believe that it is all of our stories. So I'm going to start my story in 2020. So it was 2020, and I was watching a Zoom event. And if you remember 2020, there was a lot of Zoom events, right? We're in the middle of a pandemic. But this one was special, and I was listening to then Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee. And he was on a panel talking about representation. And he was talking about really the lack of representation for Asian Americans in the New Jersey legislature. At that point, according to the 2020 census, New Jersey had about 11% Asian Americans in its population. So in a 120-member legislature, we should have had about 13 or 14 members that were Asian American. In 2020, there were 2. And, Nina mentioned that I ran for assembly, but before that, I ran for borough council in 2018. I had never thought I was going to run for public office. It really happened because nobody in my town was willing to step up and run. I live in a very Republican town, and we had some measure of success in 2017, and I did not want to see an empty ballot in 2018. So I put my name on the ballot. I really thought it was going to be like, a quiet race, like, we'll send out some mailers, put out some lawn signs, big deal. But about a month after I put my name on the ballot, we had a scandal break in town, and all of a sudden, the race became really intense and got pretty brutal. I was bruised from that race, and I swore I would never run again. But listening to Raj Mukherjee that day, the thought came to me that if we want to increase representation, right, if we want more people in our New Jersey legislature that look like us, the first step is that we have to step up and run, right? We have to find candidates willing to run, which led me to run in 2021. My path to politics has been a very, very winding one. This is not what I thought I would ever do. I came here as an immigrant, like many of you. I have a background in technology, which I'm sure a lot of you do too. And for many of my years in New Jersey, I was really focused on, getting an education, building a career, raising my family, and really, living the American dream or making the best of all the opportunities that we have. But at some point, I also, even though I volunteered a lot in my community, it was never, ever political. And all of that changed in 2016. My daughters were grown. I have twin daughters. They had just recently left for college, so I was an empty nester. And the idea of electing our first female president was especially exciting to me. So I started off with volunteering on the Hillary Clinton campaign. And though the result was not what we wanted, the politics bug did bite me. So in 2017, I found myself working for a friend who was running for Congress. I ended up working for another assembly race. And before you know it, in 2018, I was running myself. And then in 2019, something else happened that was really interesting. I got interested in policy work because what happened was that my local chapter of the National Organization of Women was restarted, and I joined it and became president. And then in 2019, I became president of the statewide organization for now. And after that, there was no going back. Since then, I've been involved on this intersection of sort of policy and politics in New Jersey. And I really feel very, very honored to be here because I believe that this is the one space that I'm able to bring all of my identities together to work for the betterment of our communities. And when I say that, what I mean is I am a woman, so I work on women's issues. I fight for women. I am a mother, so families and children are important to me. I am an immigrant, so I always look to help immigrant communities. I am also an Indian American, so of course the concerns of Indians in New Jersey are close to my heart. But as a person of color, I also stand in solidarity with our Black, our Hispanic, our other Asian advocates, and support them in everything that they are fighting for. I'm often asked, why do I do this? And I think it's really important that we tell our stories. One of the things that we've been hearing as a recurring theme sort of today is a talk about change, about voice, about action. And all of that really comes home together because often, I shove my way into rooms where I'm not invited to tell our stories because I believe that that is the only way we are going to get our voices heard. We have all decided to come to this country and raise our families here. And it is really, really important that we have a hand in shaping its future. Have I had a bad day? A lot. As I said before, you're not always welcome. So there have been many opportunities and many places that, frankly, I've been shoved out of. And so why do I keep at it? And when somebody asks me of that question, I think of the people that I have met along the way, especially the young girls. So I think of this girl, Vaishnavi, in Monroe Township, who was 15 at that time. She was a sophomore in high school. And she wrote me a 3-page letter because she found my name on the Now New Jersey website listed as president. I think of Nikki, who I met in New Providence when I was there for a speaking engagement. And it was a school night, so Nikki came up to me before the event and said, I don't think I'm going to stay for the whole evening. I have homework, so I'm going to leave early. And I was like, okay, no problem. Here's my card. If you have any questions ever, reach out to me. When I was done with my presentation, she was still there. She came up to me and she said to me that the reason she stayed is because she had never heard an Indian American woman talk about feminist issues. So I never forget that our children are watching. I have had many, many incidents like that. I have been in rooms where I've had young women come up to me, especially South Asian women, come up to me and thank me for being there, for representing them. It is so important that our children see their faces reflected on the stage, on TV, in leadership. But as I said before, it is not easy. There are many barriers. We are not always welcome. In fact, even in rooms where I'm invited because they want to look diverse, right? They want to appear like, oh, look, we're including everybody. The reality is that often our ideas, our values, our lived experiences, and our opinions are not wanted. And it really reminds me of something that, Kamala Harris was asked about this in an interview, and she said this. And she said, you see, when you are trying to remove barriers, there is breaking involved. And when you break things, you get cut, and you may bleed. And is it worth it? Every time. Every time. This year, of course, is a historic opportunity for us to get representation. We are 17 days away from an election where we could actually finally find somebody who understands our values, our communities, at the highest position in this country. And so I urge all of you, I know what I'm doing. In the words of Michelle Obama, as somebody quoted her before, do something, right? I think this is an historic opportunity for our community, for our children, for our future. And I want to talk about why does it matter. And I'm going to go back to Raj Mukherjee, who is now a senator. So in 2021, as I was involved in New Jersey legislation and policy, I remember getting an alert. And it was an alert from the legislative system that gives you alerts about upcoming bills. And this was a particular bill that was talking about hate crime. And they were going to amend the statute in New Jersey that describes what objects are considered hate crimes. And in there was included the swastika. They wanted to add that. And I remember as soon as I saw that alert, I was concerned because, as you all know, the swastika is something that is a sacred symbol to us Hindus, right? And for us to now, for it to be a hate crime. So I emailed our legislators. Remember, we had two at that time. Both, Senators Raj Mukherjee and Vin Gopal. And I said, hey, I just saw this come up my screen. I mean, this is a concern. And I'm not kidding. Within 10 minutes, I had a response from Raj Mukherjee. And he said, yes, I saw that. And that's why I brought it up for a hearing in my committee. He was the chair of the Judiciary Committee at that time, and we're going to amend it. So when we talk about representation, especially in elected office and in government, this is why it's important. We need people that understand our values, that understand our lived experiences, our communities, to be there. Because that is the only way that we are going to ensure that our voices and our concerns are at the table when decisions are being made. Of course, going into this election, there are many, many, many naysayers, right? Is America ready for a woman, a Black woman, an Indian American woman? And I will tell them all that together we can make this happen. Because again, I'm going to quote VP Harris herself because I love what she said. It's not going to be easy because breaking barriers is never easy. But she said, sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that effing door down. And that's what we're going to do. Together, we are going to kick that door down. And why? Because remember, our children are watching. Thank you.